When my sister pawned my grandmother's engagement ring and told me I would never get married anyway, I thought my world had ended. 3 months later, when the insurance check arrived for $25,000, I realized my real life was just beginning. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. My name is Victoria Chen, and at 24 years old, I had become an expert at making myself invisible in my own family. I worked as a customer service representative at Meridian Insurance Company in downtown Portland, spending my days fielding calls from frustrated clients and processing claims that ranged from minor fender benders to devastating house fires. Most people viewed my position as entry-level work that required nothing more than patience and basic computer skills. But I had discovered something that transformed routine customer interactions into advanced lessons in risk assessment, financial planning, and human psychology. During my 18 months at Meridian, I had developed an unusual ability to identify patterns in claims data that escaped the attention of senior adjusters and actuarial analysts. While processing routine paperwork, I noticed correlations between policy types, demographic factors, and claim frequencies that suggested opportunities for both improved coverage options and more accurate pricing models. I had begun documenting these observations in detailed spreadsheets that I maintained during my lunch breaks and after hours, creating comprehensive analyses that revealed inefficiencies worth millions of dollars to the insurance industry. My cubicle workstation was positioned in the center of a vast open floor, where 47 other customer service representatives handled similar call volumes under the constant supervision of metrics-focused managers who measured success exclusively through call resolution times and customer satisfaction scores. The environment discouraged innovation or strategic thinking, emphasizing speed and compliance over insight or improvement. My colleagues viewed our work as temporary employment that would eventually lead to better opportunities elsewhere, but I had recognized that the insurance industry represented a multi-trillion-dollar ecosystem, where analytical capabilities and market understanding could create extraordinary career advancement opportunities. Every evening after completing my 8-hour shift, I returned to my studio apartment in Southeast Portland and immersed myself in advanced coursework that I had designed to transform my customer service experience into comprehensive insurance industry expertise. I studied actuarial science through online programs offered by prestigious universities, analyzed financial statements from major insurance companies, and researched regulatory frameworks that governed coverage requirements across different states and market segments. My bedroom walls were covered with charts displaying premium trends, demographic analyses, and competitive positioning studies that represented hundreds of hours of independent research. The motivation behind this intensive self-education program stemmed from both professional ambition and personal necessity. I had grown up in a family where financial instability created constant stress and limited opportunities for advancement. My parents, Helen and Robert Chen, had struggled throughout my childhood to maintain middle-class appearances while managing mounting debt and irregular income from my father's construction work. When the 2008 financial crisis eliminated his steady employment, our family's economic situation deteriorated rapidly, creating lasting trauma around money management and future planning that influenced every decision I made about career development and financial security. My older sister Stephanie represented everything our parents had hoped their daughters would become. At 28, she worked as a marketing coordinator for a mid-sized advertising agency, earned $45,000 annually, and maintained an active social life that included regular dinners, shopping excursions, and weekend trips with her circle of college friends. Stephanie possessed the confidence and social skills that had always eluded me, navigating professional networking events and romantic relationships with an ease that our parents frequently praised as evidence of her superior adaptation to adult responsibilities. The contrast between Stephanie's conventional success and my unconventional approach to career development created ongoing tension within our family relationships. My parents viewed my intensive studying as evidence that I was dissatisfied with perfectly acceptable employment, while Stephanie openly questioned why I spent evenings analyzing insurance data instead of pursuing social activities that might lead to romantic relationships and eventual marriage. Their perspective reflected a fundamental misunderstanding of my goals and capabilities, but I had learned to avoid discussions about my professional aspirations to prevent conflicts that would inevitably end with suggestions that I should model my behavior after Stephanie's more traditional approach to building a successful life. The engagement ring that would eventually become the catalyst for transforming my circumstances had belonged to my maternal grandmother Eleanor Nakamura, who had received it from my grandfather during their engagement in 1952. The ring featured a 1-carat diamond surrounded by smaller stones in an intricate platinum setting that represented both significant financial value and deep emotional meaning for our family. Eleanor had specifically requested that the ring be passed to me rather than Stephanie, explaining in her will that she believed I would appreciate both its craftsmanship and its symbolic significance more than my sister would. My grandmother's decision to designate me as the ring's recipient had created resentment that Stephanie rarely expressed directly, but frequently communicated through subtle comments about family favoritism and undeserved preferential treatment. Eleanor had recognized qualities in me that other family members overlooked, including a deep appreciation for history, craftsmanship, and the emotional significance of objects that connected generations. She had also understood that my analytical nature and careful approach to important decisions would ensure that the ring would be treasured and protected, rather than treated as a commodity to be evaluated primarily for its financial worth. The ring had been appraised at $18,000 when I inherited it following Eleanor's death 2 years earlier, but its emotional value far exceeded its monetary worth. I kept it in a small jewelry box on my dresser, occasionally wearing it on special occasions while looking forward to the day when I would pass it to my own daughter or granddaughter. The ring represented continuity, family heritage, and the hope that future generations would understand and appreciate the love and commitment that it symbolized across multiple decades of family history. My relationship with money had been shaped by childhood experiences of financial insecurity that created both anxiety about spending and determination to build substantial savings for future emergencies. I maintained a rigid budget that allocated specific percentages of my income to different categories including rent, utilities, groceries, transportation, and savings. My monthly income of $2,800 after taxes required careful management to cover basic living expenses, while contributing to the emergency fund that had grown to nearly $8,000 through 18 months of disciplined saving. The emergency fund represented more than financial security. It represented my commitment to avoiding the financial vulnerability that had characterized my parents' marriage and created ongoing stress throughout my childhood. I understood that building wealth required both earning capabilities and spending discipline, which motivated my intensive efforts to develop skills that would eventually support higher income levels, while maintaining the frugal habits that enabled consistent saving regardless of earnings. My social life had been largely sacrificed to accommodate my aggressive professional development schedule and financial priorities. While Stephanie spent weekends shopping, dining out, and attending social events with friends, I typically worked overtime shifts at Meridian to earn additional income and spent evenings studying actuarial principles, regulatory frameworks, and industry trends. This isolation was both voluntary and necessary for achieving my long-term goals, but it created additional distance between myself and family members who interpreted my lifestyle choices as evidence of social inadequacy rather than strategic focus. The few romantic relationships I had attempted during college and the early months of my employment at Meridian had ended when partners became frustrated with my dedication to studying and saving money rather than pursuing conventional entertainment and social activities. These experiences had convinced me that serious romantic involvement would need to wait until I had established sufficient career momentum and financial security to support a partnership without compromising my professional objectives or financial stability. My parents frequently expressed concern about my single status and limited social life, suggesting that I was prioritizing career development over relationship building in ways that might leave me permanently alone. Their comments reflected traditional expectations about appropriate timelines for marriage and family formation that failed to account for my strategic approach to building capabilities and resources before making major life commitments. These conversations typically ended with suggestions that I should follow Stephanie's example by pursuing social activities that might lead to meeting potential marriage partners. The insurance industry knowledge I had developed through independent study had already begun creating opportunities for advancement that my colleagues and supervisors had not yet recognized. I had identified several inefficiencies in Meridian's claims processing procedures that could reduce costs while improving customer satisfaction, and I had developed proposals for new coverage options that could attract underserved market segments while generating substantial premium revenue. These innovations remained undocumented in official company reports because my position did not include responsibilities for strategic analysis or product development, but I understood that demonstrating such capabilities would eventually create opportunities for promotion and increased compensation. My analytical work had also revealed broader trends within the insurance industry that suggested significant disruption and opportunity over the next decade. Technological advances in data analytics, artificial intelligence, and customer interface design were creating possibilities for companies that could adapt quickly while threatening traditional business models that relied on outdated operational approaches. I had begun developing detailed strategic frameworks that could guide insurance companies through this transition period while creating competitive advantages and improved profitability. The combination of my customer service experience, analytical capabilities, and industry knowledge had created a unique skill set that would eventually prove valuable to employers seeking candidates who understood both operational realities and strategic opportunities within the insurance sector. However, my current position provided limited visibility for demonstrating these capabilities to decision-makers who could authorize promotions or significant salary increases. I had begun researching alternative career paths that might provide better platforms for showcasing my expertise and contributing to meaningful business improvements. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Victoria Chen appeared to be nothing more than a dedicated customer service representative who worked overtime when available and maintained professional demeanor during difficult customer interactions. Beneath this conventional exterior, however, I had developed expertise that could transform my career trajectory and financial circumstances if provided with appropriate opportunities to demonstrate my capabilities. The question was not whether such opportunities would arise, but whether I would possess the courage and confidence to pursue them when they appeared. The engagement ring that sat quietly in my jewelry box represented both family heritage and personal hope for the future. Neither I nor my grandmother could have predicted that this symbol of love and commitment would eventually become the catalyst for revealing my family's true priorities and my own capacity for achieving extraordinary results, despite overwhelming opposition and betrayal. The transformation that would follow would prove that extraordinary achievement is possible regardless of starting circumstances or the limitations that others attempt to impose on our potential for growth and success. The confrontation that would expose the fundamental differences between my vision for success and my family's expectations began on a rainy Thursday evening in October when Stephanie arrived at our parents' house carrying shopping bags from 3 different department stores and announcing that she had been promoted to senior marketing coordinator with a salary increase of $8,000 annually. The celebration that followed revealed the stark contrast between how my family responded to conventional achievement versus the indifference they showed toward my unconventional approach to professional development. My parents immediately opened a bottle of wine that had been reserved for special occasions and insisted that we order dinner from Stephanie's favorite Italian restaurant to properly commemorate her advancement. Throughout the evening, they praised her networking abilities, professional appearance, and strategic approach to building relationships with senior colleagues who could influence promotion decisions. The conversation focused extensively on how Stephanie's success validated their guidance about the importance of social skills, professional visibility, and traditional career progression through established corporate hierarchies. The implicit criticism of my career choices became explicit when my father suggested that I should observe how Stephanie had achieved recognition and advancement through strategies that I had consistently rejected. Robert explained that successful careers required active participation in office politics, strategic relationship building with influential colleagues, and careful attention to professional image management that extended far beyond technical competence or analytical capabilities. His comments reflected a fundamental misunderstanding of both my goals and my approach to achieving them. Helen reinforced Robert's perspective by emphasizing the financial security and social recognition that Stephanie's promotion represented, contrasting these benefits with what she characterized as my stubborn pursuit of solitary activities that provided neither immediate income increases nor professional visibility. My mother had developed particular concern about my tendency to decline social invitations from colleagues in favor of studying actuarial principles and analyzing insurance industry trends that she viewed as unnecessarily complex and ultimately irrelevant to career advancement within my current position. The conversation took a more personal direction when Stephanie suggested that my focus on professional development had become an excuse for avoiding the social relationships and romantic involvement that would lead to marriage and family formation. She argued that my intensive studying represented a defense mechanism that allowed me to rationalize my single status by claiming that I was too busy pursuing important goals to invest time in developing meaningful personal relationships. Her analysis stung because it contained elements of truth mixed with fundamental misunderstandings about my priorities and timeline for different life objectives. Stephanie continued by questioning whether my analytical approach to career development reflected genuine ambition or simply fear of the vulnerability and uncertainty that characterized normal romantic relationships and social interactions. She pointed out that I had avoided every opportunity for casual dating or social networking that might lead to meeting potential marriage partners, suggesting that my professional goals served primarily as justification for maintaining emotional distance from other people rather than as genuine preparation for extraordinary achievement. The family intervention intensified when Robert presented a detailed analysis of my financial situation that revealed his fundamental misunderstanding of strategic wealth building and long-term financial planning. He had calculated that my current savings rate and conservative investment approach would require decades to accumulate significant wealth, questioning whether such extreme frugality was justified when it prevented me from enjoying present opportunities for social activities and relationship development that might lead to marriage with someone whose income would substantially improve my financial security. Helen supported Robert's analysis by emphasizing the emotional and practical benefits of marriage partnerships that could provide both financial stability and personal fulfillment, without requiring the years of sacrifice and uncertainty that characterized my independent approach to building wealth and career advancement. She argued that my grandmother's engagement ring represented Eleanor's expectation that I would eventually embrace traditional relationship patterns rather than maintaining perpetual single status while pursuing abstract professional goals that might never generate meaningful results. The conversation revealed deep-seated family beliefs about appropriate female behavior and reasonable expectations for career achievement that conflicted fundamentally with my vision of what was possible through strategic skill development and disciplined execution. My parents had internalized societal messages about women's roles and capabilities that limited their understanding of what I could achieve through independent effort and innovative thinking. Their concern for my well-being translated into active discouragement of aspirations that exceeded their experience and comfort levels. Stephanie's perspective reflected similar limitations, despite her own professional success within conventional frameworks. Her success had reinforced her belief in traditional methods while creating skepticism about innovative alternatives that departed from proven pathways. The emotional pressure intensified when Helen expressed concern that my unconventional lifestyle choices were reflecting negatively on the entire family's reputation within their social circles. Several family friends had commented on my single status and apparent lack of romantic prospects, suggesting that my parents had failed to provide appropriate guidance about balancing career ambitions with relationship priorities. These conversations had created embarrassment and defensive responses that my parents now sought to address by encouraging me to modify my behavior and expectations. Robert's concerns focused primarily on financial pragmatism and what he viewed as unrealistic expectations about career advancement within the insurance industry. He had researched typical salary progression for customer service positions and concluded that my current role would never generate the income levels necessary to support the lifestyle and security that marriage to a successful professional could provide immediately. His analysis failed to account for my unique capabilities and the strategic value of the expertise I had developed through independent study and practical experience. The confrontation reached its emotional peak when Stephanie directly challenged my competence and judgment by suggesting that my analytical approach to career development represented intellectual pretension rather than genuine capability. She argued that my claims about identifying inefficiencies and opportunities within the insurance industry were grandiose fantasies that demonstrated my inability to accept realistic limitations and work within established systems like other successful professionals. Her criticism questioned not just my strategies but my fundamental understanding of my own abilities and market value. Helen and Robert's response to Stephanie's challenge revealed their complete lack of confidence in my judgment and capabilities. Instead of defending my intelligence or acknowledging the legitimacy of my goals, they nodded in agreement and suggested that Stephanie's perspective reflected the practical wisdom that I needed to embrace if I wanted to achieve genuine success and happiness. Their response confirmed that my family viewed my aspirations as evidence of delusion rather than determination. The conversation concluded with a coordinated presentation of alternative life strategies that my family believed would provide better outcomes than my current approach to professional and personal development. They proposed that I should accept Stephanie's guidance about workplace politics and relationship building, while simultaneously pursuing social activities that might lead to meeting appropriate marriage candidates who could provide the financial security and social status that my independent efforts would never achieve. The specific timeline they proposed required me to abandon my intensive studying within the next month, accept social invitations from colleagues, and begin actively seeking romantic relationships through dating applications and social events, organized by family friends who knew eligible bachelors with stable careers and marriage intentions. The plan also included expectations that I would seek promotion within Meridian's customer service hierarchy, rather than pursuing analytical roles that would require capabilities and expertise that my family doubted I possessed. The psychological impact of this intervention created self-doubt that threatened to undermine years of confidence building and strategic planning. For the first time since beginning my intensive professional development program, I questioned whether my assessment of my own capabilities had been accurate, or whether my family's skepticism reflected realistic evaluation of my limitations and market value. The unanimous opposition to my aspirations from people who claimed to love and support me created cognitive dissonance that challenged my fundamental beliefs about what was possible through sustained effort and strategic thinking. The financial arguments presented during the intervention proved particularly troubling because they highlighted the mathematical gap between my current resources and the capital requirements for achieving genuine financial independence through entrepreneurial activities or advanced education. My family's emphasis on marriage as a more efficient pathway to financial security forced me to confront the reality that my independent approach involved significantly greater risk and uncertainty than conventional alternatives that millions of women had pursued successfully. She had achieved recognition through strategies that required conformity to established expectations about workplace behavior and career progression, and she could not understand why I would pursue alternative approaches that involved greater risk and uncertainty. The emotional isolation that resulted from this confrontation was intensified by my recognition that the people who knew me best had fundamentally misunderstood both my capabilities and my commitment to achieving extraordinary results. Their perspective reflected not just different values and priorities, but complete inability to envision success paths that departed from their own experience and expectations. This isolation was particularly painful because it occurred during a period when I needed emotional support and encouragement to maintain motivation for pursuing challenging long-term goals. However, the intervention also clarified the choice that I faced between accommodation and authenticity, between seeking approval and pursuing excellence, between accepting limitations and creating possibilities. My family's opposition to my aspirations revealed their investment in maintaining conventional thinking and predictable outcomes, rather than supporting my development of unique capabilities and pursuit of extraordinary achievement. Their resistance to my goals reflected their own limitations rather than accurate assessment of my potential. The confrontation forced me to acknowledge that achieving breakthrough results would require emotional independence from people whose support was conditional on my acceptance of their vision for my life, rather than pursuit of my own goals and aspirations. The pain of disappointing people I loved was real and significant, but the cost of abandoning my potential to maintain family harmony would have been far greater and more permanent than temporary relationship tensions resulting from my commitment to personal growth and professional excellence. The choice between conventional security and extraordinary possibility had been presented with clarity that eliminated ambiguity about the decision I needed to make. I could embrace my family's timeline and expectations while abandoning the goals that gave my life meaning and purpose. or I could maintain my commitment to developing exceptional capabilities regardless of external opposition and skepticism. The decision would determine not just my career trajectory, but my understanding of my own worth and potential for creating meaningful impact through sustained effort and strategic thinking. Victoria Chen faced the fundamental choice that confronts everyone who aspires to achieve results that exceed conventional expectations and social norms. The weight of others' limitations had been clearly established, and my response would reveal whether I possessed the courage and conviction necessary to pursue extraordinary goals despite opposition from people whose approval I naturally desired, but whose vision for my life reflected their constraints rather than my possibilities. The incident that would forever alter my understanding of family loyalty and personal resilience occurred on a Friday afternoon in early November when I returned home from my shift at Meridian Insurance to discover that my grandmother's engagement ring had vanished from the jewelry box where I had carefully stored it for 2 years. The initial confusion quickly transformed into devastating comprehension as I searched through every drawer, cabinet, and storage container in my studio apartment, finding no trace of the one possession that connected me to my family's history and my hopes for the future. My first instinct was to contact building management about potential break-ins or security breaches that might explain the ring's disappearance. The property manager confirmed that no unauthorized entries had been reported, and that the building's security systems had recorded no suspicious activity during the time I had been at work. These conversations eliminated external theft as a possibility, and forced me to confront the reality that someone with legitimate access to my apartment had deliberately taken my grandmother's ring without permission or explanation. The list of people who possessed keys to my apartment included only my parents and Stephanie, who had been given emergency access during a previous medical situation, when I required assistance following a minor surgical procedure. The realization that the theft had been committed by a family member created emotional trauma that exceeded the financial loss of the ring itself. The betrayal represented not just the theft of valuable property, but the violation of trust and family bonds that I had considered fundamental and unbreakable, despite our recent conflicts about my career choices and lifestyle priorities. My initial phone call to my parents produced responses that immediately revealed their knowledge about the ring's disappearance and their complicity in what had occurred. Helen's voice carried a defensive tone that suggested preparation for this conversation when she explained that Stephanie had experienced a financial emergency that required immediate access to cash that she could not obtain through conventional sources. Robert supported Helen's explanation by emphasizing that family members should support each other during difficult periods rather than maintaining rigid boundaries about personal property and individual ownership. The specific details of Stephanie's financial crisis emerged through a series of increasingly uncomfortable conversations that revealed the extent of her irresponsible spending and financial mismanagement over the previous 6 months. She had accumulated credit card debt exceeding $15,000 through purchases that included expensive clothing, frequent restaurant meals, weekend trips with friends, and electronic devices that she had justified as necessary professional expenses. Her recent promotion had actually triggered increased spending rather than improved financial discipline, leading to a debt crisis that threatened her credit rating and professional reputation. Stephanie's solution to her self-created financial emergency involved pawning my grandmother's engagement ring for immediate cash that she planned to use for minimum credit card payments while developing a longer-term strategy for debt elimination. She had convinced my parents that this approach represented a temporary borrowing arrangement that would be resolved within several weeks, through careful budgeting and potential overtime income from her new position. The plan relied on my presumed ignorance about the ring's disappearance until Stephanie could retrieve it from the pawn shop and return it to my apartment without my knowledge. The conversation that followed my discovery of the theft exposed family dynamics and value systems that had remained hidden beneath surface appearances of mutual support and shared priorities. Stephanie's justification for taking my ring reflected her fundamental belief that my single status and unconventional lifestyle choices meant that I had no legitimate need for an engagement ring that would remain unused indefinitely, while she faced immediate financial pressures that required practical solutions rather than sentimental considerations. Helen and Robert's support for Stephanie's actions revealed their assessment of relative family priorities, and their belief that my attachment to the ring represented selfish thinking that prioritized material possessions over family relationships and mutual assistance during difficult periods. Their perspective reflected traditional expectations about unmarried women's responsibilities to support family members who faced practical challenges while pursuing conventional life paths that deserved priority and protection. The most devastating aspect of this betrayal emerged when Stephanie explicitly stated her belief that I would never marry, and therefore had no practical use for an engagement ring that represented false hope rather than realistic future planning. She argued that my intensive focus on career development and financial independence demonstrated my rejection of traditional relationship patterns and family formation that would make the ring relevant to my actual life circumstances. Her assessment suggested that my family viewed my single status as permanent rather than temporary, reflecting their evaluation of my social skills and romantic prospects. Stephanie's commentary extended beyond the immediate ring situation to encompass her broader assessment of my life choices and future possibilities. She expressed the opinion that my analytical approach to professional development and my resistance to conventional social activities indicated fundamental personality traits that would prevent successful romantic relationships regardless of my eventual financial success or career advancement. Her perspective suggested that the ring's symbolic significance was wasted on someone who would never experience the love and commitment that justified its emotional importance. The financial details of the pawnshop transaction revealed additional layers of betrayal and disrespect that intensified the emotional impact of the theft. Stephanie had accepted $4,000 for a ring that had been appraised at $18,000. Representing a loss of nearly 80% of its value through a transaction that she acknowledged was primarily motivated by convenience rather than optimal financial outcome. Her willingness to sacrifice such substantial value for immediate cash access demonstrated either complete ignorance about the ring's worth or deliberate indifference to the financial impact of her actions. The pawnshop's policies regarding redemption timelines and interest charges created additional urgency around resolving the situation before permanent loss occurred. Stephanie would need to repay the $4,000 loan plus accumulated interest within 30 days to retrieve the ring, after which ownership would transfer permanently to the pawnshop for eventual resale to recover their investment. The timeline pressure meant that immediate action was required to prevent irreversible loss of my grandmother's ring and the family heritage it represented. My parents' response to my demand for immediate resolution revealed their expectation that I should provide the financial resources necessary to redeem the ring while accepting responsibility for family harmony restoration and future crisis prevention. Helen suggested that my substantial savings account and stable employment made me the logical source of redemption funds, while Robert emphasized that my commitment to family relationships should override concerns about financial fairness or personal property rights that seemed petty compared to maintaining family unity during a difficult period. The conversation reached its emotional climax when Stephanie accused me of selfishness and lack of family loyalty for refusing to understand her desperate financial situation and provide immediate assistance for ring redemption without requiring apologies or acknowledgement of wrongdoing. She argued that my focus on property rights and financial accountability demonstrated the cold analytical thinking that would prevent me from developing the emotional warmth and flexibility necessary for successful personal relationships throughout my life. Helen and Robert's final position required me to choose between maintaining family relationships and asserting my rights regarding personal property and respectful treatment. They proposed that I should provide redemption funds immediately while accepting Stephanie's explanation and avoiding future discussions about the incident that might create ongoing family tension or emotional resentment. Their proposal essentially required me to subsidize Stephanie's financial irresponsibility, while accepting blame for family conflict that resulted from my unwillingness to accommodate her emergency borrowing without consultation or consent. The revelation that my family viewed me as both financially responsible for resolving crises created by others and emotionally obligated to accept disrespectful treatment without complaint crystallized my understanding of the relationship dynamics that had been developing over years of apparent family harmony. My role within these relationships had become that of a financial and emotional resource to be utilized when convenient, while my own needs and aspirations remained secondary to other family members' priorities and preferences. The psychological impact of recognizing these patterns created a clarity about choices and priorities that had been obscured by my desire to maintain family approval and emotional connection despite fundamental differences in values and expectations. The ring theft had exposed the reality that my family's concern for my well-being was conditional upon my acceptance of their assessment of my limitations, and my willingness to subordinate my goals to their preferences and immediate needs. However, the betrayal also revealed the strength of character and independence that I had developed through years of disciplined effort and strategic thinking about long-term goals versus short-term pressures. My response to this crisis would demonstrate whether I possessed the courage to prioritize my own values and future possibilities over family approval and conventional expectations about appropriate female behavior within traditional family hierarchies. The decision I faced extended beyond the immediate question of ring redemption to encompass fundamental choices about identity, relationships, and the price I was willing to pay for pursuing extraordinary goals despite opposition from people whose support I naturally desired, but whose vision for my life reflected their limitations rather than my potential for achievement and meaningful contribution. The moment of truth had arrived when external circumstances forced me to choose between accommodation and authenticity, between seeking approval and pursuing excellence, between accepting others, assessment of my worth, and demonstrating my actual capabilities through decisive action. The catalyst had been provided through betrayal and disrespect, but the opportunity for transformation emerged from my response to circumstances that would either diminish my confidence or strengthen my resolve to achieve results that would validate my belief in the possibility of extraordinary achievement, regardless of starting circumstances or family support. Victoria Chen stood at the crossroads, where character is revealed and futures are determined through choices made under pressure, when conventional wisdom suggests acceptance and compromise, while inner conviction demands principled action and commitment to personal vision, despite overwhelming opposition from people whose limitations had become obstacles to my advancement and self-realization. The weekend following the discovery of my grandmother's ring theft became a concentrated period of reflection and decision-making that would determine whether I would continue accommodating my family's expectations or begin asserting my own worth and priorities, despite the emotional consequences. I spent Saturday and Sunday analyzing not just the immediate crisis but the broader patterns of relationship dynamics that had led to this moment of profound disrespect and betrayal. The clarity that emerged from this analysis would fundamentally reshape my understanding of loyalty, self-worth, and the price of pursuing extraordinary goals in an environment that actively discouraged such aspirations. My initial impulse had been to provide the $4,000 necessary to redeem the ring immediately, primarily to prevent its permanent loss, and to restore some semblance of family harmony during what everyone agreed was a difficult period. This approach would have required me to deplete approximately half of my emergency savings account, while accepting my family's narrative that Stephanie's financial crisis justified taking my property without consent, and that my resistance to providing redemption funds demonstrated selfishness rather than reasonable expectations about respect and accountability. However, deeper consideration of the implications revealed that immediate financial rescue would establish a precedent for future exploitation, while reinforcing my family's assessment that my primary value within their relationships was as a financial resource to be utilized when convenient. The pattern would likely repeat whenever Stephanie or others faced self-created crises that required immediate solutions, with my savings account serving as the default funding source for problems that resulted from irresponsible decision-making and poor financial planning. The mathematical reality of my financial situation provided additional perspective on the decision I faced regarding ring redemption and future family expectations. My $8,000 emergency fund represented 18 months of disciplined saving through careful budgeting and frequent overtime work that had required significant personal sacrifice and lifestyle constraints. Spending half of these resources to resolve someone else's crisis would substantially reduce my financial security, while setting expectations that my savings existed primarily to support family members rather than my own goals and security needs. Moreover, the financial analysis revealed that Stephanie's debt crisis exceeded $15,000, meaning that ring redemption would address only a small fraction of her overall financial problems. Even if I provided the $4,000 immediately, she would continue facing substantial monthly payments and interest charges that would likely create additional emergencies requiring family assistance in the coming months. My financial rescue would delay rather than resolve her fundamental problems while depleting resources that I needed for my own professional development and security planning. The timeline pressure created by the pawn shop's 30-day redemption policy intensified the emotional stress of decision-making, while forcing me to choose between immediate action based on family pressure and careful consideration of longer-term implications for both my financial situation and my relationships with people who had demonstrated fundamental disrespect for my property rights and personal boundaries. The deadline meant that extended deliberation was not possible, requiring me to trust my instincts and values, rather than seeking additional input from others who might provide perspective on this complex situation. My parents' escalating pressure for immediate financial assistance included daily phone calls emphasizing the urgency of ring redemption and the importance of family loyalty during difficult periods. Helen's conversations focused on emotional manipulation designed to generate guilt about my reluctance to help Stephanie, while Robert's discussions emphasized practical arguments about preserving family relationships that would provide long-term benefits exceeding the short-term cost of financial assistance. Their coordinated campaign revealed sophisticated understanding of my emotional vulnerabilities and psychological pressure points. The most challenging aspect of this pressure campaign involved my parents' suggestion that my grandmother would have wanted me to prioritize family harmony over property rights and financial accountability. They argued that Eleanor's decision to leave me the ring reflected her expectation that I would use it to strengthen family relationships, rather than maintaining rigid boundaries about individual ownership and personal autonomy. This argument exploited my respect for my grandmother's memory while misrepresenting her values and intentions in ways that supported their preferred outcome, rather than accurately reflecting Eleanor's character and beliefs. My independent research into Eleanor's background and family relationships revealed that she had actually experienced similar financial exploitation from relatives who viewed her resources as available for their needs rather than her security and goals. Family stories that I had previously interpreted as examples of generosity actually represented instances where Eleanor had been pressured to provide financial assistance that she could not afford, while accepting minimal gratitude and no accountability from recipients who created ongoing crises through irresponsible behavior. The pattern suggested that my current situation reflected historical family dynamics rather than unique circumstances requiring unprecedented solutions. This historical perspective provided crucial context for understanding my grandmother's decision to leave me the ring, despite Stephanie's presumed greater interest in conventional relationship patterns and traditional family formation. Eleanor had recognized qualities in me that reminded her of her own analytical approach to financial planning and her resistance to emotional manipulation designed to exploit her resources for others' benefit. The ring represented not just family heritage, but validation of my independent thinking and commitment to building security through disciplined effort, rather than depending on others for financial support. The conversations with my parents also revealed their assessment that my single status and unconventional career priorities made me the logical source of financial assistance for family members pursuing traditional life paths that deserved priority and protection. Their perspective suggested that my commitment to professional development and financial independence created obligations to subsidize others' choices while receiving minimal recognition or appreciation for my contributions. This understanding clarified the fundamental unfairness of relationship dynamics that I had previously attributed to temporary stress rather than systematic exploitation. Stephanie's direct communications during this period included increasingly desperate appeals for immediate assistance, combined with criticism of my analytical approach to family relationships and financial decision-making. She argued that my tendency to evaluate requests for help through financial and strategic lenses demonstrated the emotional coldness that would prevent successful romantic relationships, while creating unnecessary family conflict during periods when unity and mutual support were essential for maintaining family stability and happiness. Her commentary extended to broader assessments of my character and future prospects that revealed her genuine belief that my professional aspirations were unrealistic fantasies that justified her dismissive treatment of my goals and priorities. Stephanie expressed confidence that my current position at Meridian Insurance represented the peak of my career potential, and that my intensive studying and analytical work would never generate meaningful advancement or increased income that would justify the social and romantic sacrifices required for such dedication to professional development activities. The most devastating aspect of Stephanie's perspective involved her explicit statement that my reaction to the ring theft demonstrated exactly why I would never marry or form lasting romantic relationships. She argued that my focus on financial accountability and property rights revealed personality traits that potential partners would find unattractive and incompatible with the emotional warmth and flexibility necessary for successful marriage and family formation. Her assessment suggested that my response to betrayal was evidence of character flaws rather than reasonable expectations about respectful treatment. The psychological impact of confronting these perspectives forced me to examine my own assumptions about family relationships and the obligations that accompanied shared history and emotional bonds. I had previously believed that love and support were unconditional, requiring mutual respect and consideration even during disagreements about priorities and life choices. The current crisis revealed that my family's support was contingent upon my acceptance of their assessment of my limitations and my willingness to subordinate my needs to their preferences and immediate requirements. However, this recognition also clarified the choice between maintaining relationships based on conditional acceptance and pursuing goals that reflected my actual capabilities and potential for meaningful achievement. The pain of disappointing people I loved was real and significant, but the cost of abandoning my professional aspirations and financial independence to maintain family harmony would have been far greater and more permanent than temporary relationship tensions resulting from my commitment to personal growth and self-respect. The decision crystallized when I realized that providing financial assistance for ring redemption would require me to accept responsibility for problems created by others while receiving criticism rather than appreciation for my sacrifice. The pattern would establish expectations that my resources existed primarily to support family members who faced consequences from their own poor decisions, while my goals and security needs remained secondary to their immediate preferences and crisis management requirements. My analysis of potential outcomes revealed that immediate financial rescue would temporarily resolve the ring situation, while creating long-term problems including depleted emergency funds, established precedent for future financial exploitation, and reinforced family dynamics that prioritized others' needs over my legitimate expectations for respectful treatment and mutual consideration. The alternative approach involved accepting the permanent loss of my grandmother's ring, while establishing boundaries that would protect my resources and assert my worth as a family member deserving respect and accountability rather than exploitation and criticism. The choice between these alternatives represented more than a financial decision about ring redemption. It represented a fundamental choice about identity, values, and the type of relationships I would accept versus those I would require for continued engagement and emotional investment. The betrayal had created an opportunity to demonstrate either weakness through accommodation or strength through principled action that reflected my actual worth and potential for extraordinary achievement. Victoria Chen faced the moment of truth that arrives when external circumstances force decisions that reveal character and determine future trajectory. The choice between safety and possibility, between accommodation and authenticity, between accepting others' limitations and pursuing my own potential, would define not just my immediate response to family betrayal, but my understanding of what was possible for someone who possessed the courage to prioritize principles over convenience and personal growth over conventional approval. The decision that would forever alter my relationship with my family crystallized on Monday morning as I prepared for another day at Meridian Insurance, while contemplating the fundamental choice between maintaining peace through accommodation and asserting my worth through principled action. The weekend of analysis had revealed that providing financial assistance for ring redemption would establish patterns of exploitation that would continue indefinitely, while my refusal to subsidize irresponsible behavior would create immediate conflict but preserve my resources and dignity for pursuing meaningful goals. The clarity of this understanding enabled me to make a decision that reflected my values rather than my fears. My first action involved calling the pawn shop to obtain detailed information about their policies, redemption procedures, and timeline requirements. The conversation with the shop manager provided crucial insights into the transaction specifics and revealed additional aspects of Stephanie's deception that intensified my resolve to avoid financial rescue while pursuing alternative solutions that would protect my interests without rewarding her betrayal. The manager explained that Stephanie had presented false identification claiming to be the ring's rightful owner, which constituted fraud in addition to theft, and demonstrated deliberate criminal intent rather than mere financial desperation. The legal implications of Stephanie's actions extended beyond simple family conflict into criminal territory that could result in serious consequences, including prosecution for theft, fraud, and potentially other charges related to her misrepresentation of ownership and deliberate deception of commercial entities. This understanding provided me with leverage that I had not previously recognized, while also confirming that my sister's behavior reflected calculated exploitation rather than impulsive crisis management that might deserve sympathy and financial assistance from family members. My second call was to my employer's Human Resources Department to inquire about legal assistance benefits that might be available through our employee support programs. Meridian Insurance provided access to legal consultation services for employees facing personal legal issues, and the representative confirmed that my situation qualified for initial consultation at no cost, with the option to pursue additional legal action if circumstances warranted such measures. This resource eliminated the financial barrier to seeking professional legal advice about my options for recovering my property and holding my sister accountable for her actions. The consultation with the attorney assigned through Meridian's Employee Assistance Program provided comprehensive analysis of my legal rights and potential remedies for addressing both the theft and fraud committed by Stephanie. The attorney explained that I possessed multiple options, including filing criminal charges through the police department, pursuing civil litigation for recovery of damages, and working with the pawnshop to establish legitimate ownership while pursuing restitution through family negotiations backed by legal pressure rather than emotional manipulation. The attorney's assessment confirmed that my grandmother's will and the ring's appraisal documentation provided clear evidence of legitimate ownership that would support any legal action I chose to pursue. The documentation trail eliminated ambiguity about ownership rights, while establishing the ring's value for purposes of calculating damages and determining appropriate legal remedies. The attorney recommended beginning with formal demand letters to my family members while preparing more aggressive legal options if cooperative resolution proved impossible within reasonable timelines. The strategic approach recommended by legal counsel involved escalating pressure through increasingly formal methods that would demonstrate my commitment to recovering my property, while providing opportunities for family members to resolve the situation voluntarily before legal consequences became unavoidable. This approach would test my family's willingness to acknowledge wrongdoing and provide appropriate restitution versus their commitment to maintaining their narrative that I was overreacting to normal family assistance during financial emergencies. My decision to pursue legal remedies rather than financial rescue represented a fundamental shift in how I approached family relationships and personal boundaries. Instead of accepting exploitation while seeking harmony through accommodation, I chose to assert my rights while accepting the conflict that would inevitably result from holding people accountable for their actions. This decision reflected my commitment to building relationships based on mutual respect and reciprocity, rather than unilateral sacrifice and conditional acceptance. The first formal communication to my family involved a carefully crafted letter delivered through certified mail that documented the theft, outlined the legal implications of Stephanie's actions, and established a timeline for voluntary resolution, before pursuing criminal charges and civil litigation. The letter's professional tone and comprehensive legal analysis communicated my seriousness while providing clear information about consequences that would result from continued refusal to address the situation appropriately through restitution and acknowledgement of wrongdoing. My parents' reaction to receiving formal legal documentation revealed their shock that I would pursue such aggressive measures rather than accepting their preferred narrative about family loyalty and crisis assistance. Helen's phone call immediately following receipt of the letter combined emotional manipulation with threats about permanent family estrangement if I continued pursuing legal action against Stephanie during her vulnerable financial period. Robert's response focused on practical concerns about legal costs and potential damage to family reputation within their social circles if criminal charges became public knowledge. Stephanie's reaction demonstrated the effectiveness of formal legal pressure in clarifying the seriousness of her situation and the potential consequences of continued resistance to providing appropriate restitution. Her initial response involved anger and accusations that I was overreacting to normal family dynamics, but subsequent conversations revealed growing concern about criminal charges and civil liability that could affect her employment and professional reputation, in addition to creating substantial financial obligations through legal fees and potential judgment awards. The psychological impact of asserting my rights through formal legal channels created empowerment that exceeded my expectations and validated my decision to prioritize principles over family harmony. For the first time since discovering the theft, I felt control over my circumstances and confidence that my interests would be protected regardless of family pressure or emotional manipulation designed to discourage appropriate accountability measures. The legal framework provided structure and support that enabled me to maintain clear boundaries while pursuing resolution through established procedures rather than endless family negotiations. The process also revealed the extent to which my family had become accustomed to exploiting my accommodating nature and financial resources without considering my needs or providing appropriate appreciation for my contributions to their welfare and crisis resolution. The legal pressure forced them to confront the reality that their behavior constituted actual wrongdoing rather than acceptable family dynamics, while my willingness to pursue formal remedies demonstrated that I would no longer accept disrespectful treatment regardless of family relationships and shared history. The timeline for legal resolution created pressure that motivated more serious consideration of voluntary restitution, while establishing clear consequences for continued resistance to acknowledging wrongdoing and providing appropriate compensation. The 30-day redemption period at the pawnshop remained the controlling factor, but legal pressure ensured that family members understood the broader implications of their actions beyond immediate ring recovery and temporary family conflict. My approach to workplace relationships during this period reflected my commitment to maintaining professional standards while managing personal crisis through appropriate channels, rather than allowing family dysfunction to compromise my employment performance or advancement opportunities. I informed my supervisor about the general situation and my use of legal assistance benefits without providing details that might create workplace gossip or unprofessional disclosure of private family matters that could affect others' perception of my judgment and reliability. The support I received from colleagues who learned about my situation reinforced my understanding that normal relationships involved mutual respect and accountability, rather than one-sided exploitation disguised as family loyalty. Several coworkers shared similar experiences with family members who had exploited their resources and trust, confirming that my situation reflected common patterns of dysfunction rather than unique circumstances requiring exceptional tolerance and accommodation. The insurance industry knowledge I had developed through independent study provided valuable perspective on risk management and decision-making frameworks that applied directly to my personal situation. I approached family relationship decisions using the same analytical methods that guided professional risk assessment, evaluating potential outcomes and developing strategies that minimized negative consequences while maximizing positive results through systematic planning and execution. This integration of professional capabilities with personal challenges demonstrated the practical value of the skills I had developed through intensive study and strategic career development. The analytical thinking and systematic problem-solving that others had dismissed as unnecessary complexity proved essential for navigating sophisticated challenges that required careful evaluation of multiple variables and potential consequences before implementing effective solutions. The financial analysis of legal costs versus potential recovery revealed that pursuing formal remedies represented sound economic decision-making in addition to appropriate assertion of personal rights and boundaries. The potential recovery amount exceeded anticipated legal expenses, while the precedent established through successful legal action would provide protection against future exploitation attempts that might otherwise require ongoing accommodation and resource depletion. My grandmother's engagement ring had become a symbol of much more than family heritage and romantic hope. It represented my commitment to asserting my worth and protecting my interests, regardless of external pressure and emotional manipulation. The legal battles surrounding its recovery would demonstrate whether I possessed the courage and determination necessary to pursue extraordinary goals despite opposition from people whose limitations had become obstacles to my advancement and self-realization. The choice to break free from limiting relationships through formal legal action rather than continued accommodation marked a decisive transition from seeking approval to demanding respect, from accepting exploitation to requiring accountability, from prioritizing others' comfort to protecting my own interests and future possibilities. Victoria Chen had begun the transformation from accommodating family member to independent professional, who would build relationships based on mutual respect rather than unilateral sacrifice, and conditional acceptance of disrespectful treatment, disguised as normal family dynamics. The week following my decision to pursue legal action marked the beginning of a transformation that extended far beyond the immediate ring recovery situation and into fundamental changes in how I approached both personal relationships and professional opportunities. The experience of asserting my rights through formal legal channels had revealed capabilities and confidence that I had not previously recognized, while the process of documenting my case and working with legal professionals exposed me to sophisticated problem-solving frameworks that enhanced my analytical skills and strategic thinking abilities. The attorney assigned through Meridian's Employee Assistance Program, Margaret Thornfield, possessed extensive experience in property recovery cases and civil litigation involving family disputes. Her approach to my situation demonstrated sophisticated legal strategy, combined with practical understanding of the emotional complexities that characterized family-based legal conflicts. During our second consultation, Margaret explained that my case represented one of the strongest property recovery claims she had encountered. With clear documentation of ownership and unambiguous evidence of theft and fraud that would support both criminal charges and civil litigation if voluntary resolution proved impossible. Margaret's analysis of my situation extended beyond immediate legal remedies to encompass broader implications for my personal development and professional advancement. She recognized that my systematic approach to documenting the theft, researching legal options, and pursuing formal resolution demonstrated analytical capabilities and strategic thinking that exceeded what she typically observed from clients facing similar circumstances. Her comments about my potential for legal career development planted seeds for considering professional alternatives that I had not previously contemplated. The legal documentation process required me to compile comprehensive evidence supporting my ownership claims and establishing the timeline of events surrounding the theft and subsequent family interactions. This work involved creating detailed chronologies, organizing financial records, and preparing written statements that met professional legal standards for clarity, accuracy, and persuasive impact. The experience of translating complex personal circumstances into formal legal arguments enhanced my communication skills while providing practical training in advanced analytical writing that would prove valuable for future professional endeavors. Margaret's feedback about my legal writing abilities and analytical approach to case preparation revealed that I possessed natural capabilities for legal reasoning and strategic thinking that might support career advancement opportunities within the legal profession. She explained that many successful attorneys had developed their expertise through practical experience rather than traditional academic credentials, and that my insurance industry knowledge combined with demonstrated analytical capabilities could create unique value propositions for law firms specializing in insurance litigation and regulatory compliance. The investigation process that Margaret initiated to strengthen my case provided exposure to professional investigative techniques and evidence-gathering procedures that broadened my understanding of systematic problem-solving in complex situations with multiple stakeholders and competing interests. The private investigator she recommended, Thomas Kellerman, possessed extensive experience in financial fraud cases and family-based property disputes that created sophisticated challenges requiring creative solutions and meticulous attention to detail. Thomas's investigation revealed additional information about Stephanie's financial situation that extended my understanding of her motivation for stealing the ring beyond simple credit card debt crisis management. His research uncovered patterns of financial irresponsibility dating back several years, including multiple instances of borrowing money from friends and colleagues without repayment, unpaid bills that had been transferred to collection agencies, and previous attempts to obtain loans using fraudulent information about her income and employment status. The comprehensive financial profile that emerged from this investigation demonstrated that Stephanie's crisis represented the culmination of systematic, poor decision-making, rather than temporary financial pressure that might justify emergency family assistance. Her credit rating had deteriorated to levels that eliminated conventional borrowing options, while her debt-to-income ratio exceeded sustainable levels that could be resolved through budgeting and increased earnings alone. The evidence suggested that ring redemption would provide only temporary relief without addressing fundamental problems that would continue creating crises requiring ongoing family support. Thomas's investigation also revealed that Stephanie had misrepresented her financial situation to my parents when requesting their support for her ring theft. claiming that the debt crisis resulted from unexpected medical expenses and professional development costs rather than discretionary spending on entertainment, travel, and luxury purchases. The documented evidence of her actual spending patterns provided leverage for family negotiations while exposing the extent of deception that had characterized her manipulation of family sympathies and resources. The professional relationships I developed with Margaret and Thomas introduced me to sophisticated business networks and career advancement strategies that expanded my understanding of possibilities beyond traditional corporate employment within the insurance industry. Both professionals recognized my analytical capabilities and strategic thinking skills as assets that could support various career paths requiring similar competencies, including legal practice, business consulting, and financial services roles that offered substantially higher compensation and advancement potential. Margaret's introduction to other legal professionals within her network provided informal mentorship opportunities and exposure to career development strategies that successful attorneys had employed to build thriving practices. These conversations revealed that the insurance industry expertise I had developed through independent study created unique value propositions for law firms seeking candidates who understood both regulatory frameworks and business operations within this complex sector. The experience of working with professional service providers who treated me as an intelligent client worthy of respect and sophisticated analysis contrasted sharply with family relationships characterized by dismissal and exploitation. Margaret and Thomas engaged with my ideas and insights as valuable contributions to case strategy rather than unrealistic fantasies requiring gentle discouragement. Their professional validation provided external confirmation that my analytical capabilities and strategic thinking skills possessed genuine market value beyond family acknowledgement or approval. The legal process also introduced me to advanced communication strategies and negotiation techniques that enhanced my professional skill set, while providing practical experience in high-stakes situations requiring careful preparation and strategic execution. Margaret's coaching about effective negotiation approaches and psychological pressure tactics provided insights that applied directly to workplace situations and career advancement opportunities requiring persuasive communication and strategic relationship management. The timeline pressure created by the pawn shop's redemption requirements forced accelerated legal action that compressed normal investigation and negotiation phases into intensive periods requiring extraordinary effort and coordination among multiple professionals. This experience provided valuable training in project management and crisis resolution that demonstrated my ability to maintain high performance under pressure while coordinating complex activities involving various stakeholders with competing priorities and interests. The psychological impact of working with professionals who recognized and respected my capabilities created confidence that extended beyond the immediate legal situation into broader aspects of personal and professional development. For the first time since beginning my career at Meridian Insurance, I experienced treatment as someone whose intelligence and judgment deserved respect, rather than someone whose limitations required accommodation and lowered expectations. The formal demand letter that Margaret prepared for delivery to my family members represented sophisticated legal strategy designed to maximize pressure for voluntary resolution, while preserving options for escalation if cooperation proved impossible. The document outlined specific legal violations committed by Stephanie, detailed potential criminal and civil consequences of continued resistance to providing restitution, and established clear timelines for response and resolution that would trigger formal legal action if ignored or rejected. The letter's professional presentation and comprehensive legal analysis communicated the seriousness of my commitment to pursuing full legal remedies, regardless of family pressure or emotional manipulation designed to discourage accountability measures. The document served both as notification of legal options and as demonstration of the sophisticated support and strategic planning that would characterize any extended legal battle resulting from continued family resistance to appropriate resolution. My parents' receipt of Margaret's demand letter produced immediate escalation in family pressure tactics that revealed the extent to which they had underestimated my commitment to pursuing formal legal action. Helen's phone calls increased in frequency and emotional intensity, combining traditional guilt-based manipulation with threats about permanent family estrangement if I continued pursuing legal action that could result in criminal charges against Stephanie during her vulnerable financial period. Robert's response focused on practical concerns about legal costs and potential publicity that could damage family reputation within their social and professional networks. His arguments emphasized the disproportion between the ring's financial value and the potential consequences of criminal prosecution or civil litigation that could affect Stephanie's employment and future opportunities. These concerns revealed their recognition that formal legal action represented genuine threat rather than empty gesturing designed to enhance negotiation leverage. Stephanie's direct response to the demand letter demonstrated sophisticated understanding of her legal vulnerability while maintaining resistance to acknowledging wrongdoing or accepting responsibility for voluntary restitution. Her communication through a friend rather than direct contact suggested consultation with legal counsel who had advised her about potential consequences while developing defensive strategies for minimizing criminal and civil liability if prosecution became unavoidable. The escalation in family pressure tactics validated my decision to pursue legal remedies rather than attempting informal resolution through continued family negotiations. The systematic manipulation and emotional blackmail that characterized their response confirmed that voluntary cooperation would require external pressure rather than appeals to fairness or family loyalty. The legal framework provided structure and support that enabled me to maintain clear boundaries while pursuing resolution through established procedures, rather than endless family discussions designed to wear down my resistance through exhaustion and emotional manipulation. The empowerment that resulted from asserting my rights through professional legal channels created momentum for examining other areas of my life where similar principles might apply to relationships and opportunities that I had previously accepted without question. The experience of demanding respect and accountability in family relationships encouraged similar evaluation of workplace dynamics and professional development strategies that might benefit from more assertive approaches to advancement and recognition. Victoria Chen had discovered that extraordinary achievement often requires the courage to pursue formal remedies and professional solutions, rather than accepting limitations imposed by people whose interests conflicts with personal growth and advancement. The legal process had revealed capabilities and opportunities that would reshape her understanding of what was possible through strategic action and professional relationship development. The revelation that pursuing excellence required standards and commitment far exceeding my previous understanding emerged through my deepening involvement with the legal professionals handling my case and the exposure to their sophisticated approaches to problem-solving and strategic execution. Margaret Thornfield's expectations for case preparation and documentation demanded precision and thoroughness that challenged my analytical capabilities while revealing the substantial gap between competent performance and truly exceptional work that commanded professional respect and premium compensation. Margaret's review of my initial case documentation identified multiple areas requiring enhancement to meet litigation standards that would withstand scrutiny from opposing counsel and judicial evaluation. Her feedback demonstrated that professional-level analytical work required systematic methodology, comprehensive research, and attention to detail that exceeded anything I had previously attempted in either academic or professional contexts. The revision process provided intensive training in advanced analytical techniques while exposing me to quality standards that separated exceptional performers from merely competent practitioners. The investigation work required to strengthen my case demanded research skills and information synthesis capabilities that extended far beyond basic fact-gathering into sophisticated analysis of financial records, legal precedents, and family relationship dynamics that created complex interpretive challenges. Thomas Kellerman's mentorship during this process revealed that effective investigation required systematic thinking, creative problem-solving, and persistent effort that distinguished truly valuable professionals from those who provided routine services at standard compensation levels. The comprehensive financial analysis required for establishing damages and restitution calculations introduced me to advanced accounting principles and forensic financial analysis techniques that required substantial learning investment to achieve competency. The work involved analyzing bank statements, credit reports, and transaction records spanning multiple years to establish patterns of financial behavior and document the specific impacts of Stephanie's theft within the broader context of her systematic financial irresponsibility and family exploitation. Margaret's introduction to forensic accounting concepts and damage calculation methodologies revealed the mathematical precision and systematic thinking required for professional financial analysis that could withstand legal scrutiny and expert witness evaluation. Her explanation of present value calculations, opportunity cost assessments, and comparative analysis frameworks provided advanced education in financial concepts that enhanced my insurance industry expertise while demonstrating practical applications for sophisticated analytical capabilities. The timeline pressure created by the pawnshop redemption deadline required accelerated learning and performance that tested my ability to absorb complex new information while maintaining accuracy and thoroughness under substantial stress. The experience provided valuable training in crisis management and high-performance execution that demonstrated my capacity for extraordinary effort when circumstances demanded exceptional results within compressed timeframes. The coordination required among multiple professionals working on different aspects of my case introduced me to project management principles and communication strategies that enabled effective collaboration in complex situations, involving various expertise areas and competing priority demands. Margaret's approach to managing legal strategy while incorporating investigation findings and financial analysis results demonstrated sophisticated integration capabilities that created synergistic outcomes exceeding the sum of individual contributions. The legal research required for understanding property law, theft statutes, and civil litigation procedures demanded systematic study of complex regulatory frameworks and judicial interpretations that required substantial time investment and intellectual effort. The work involved analyzing case precedents, statutory language, and procedural requirements that created comprehensive understanding of legal principles while developing research methodologies applicable to various professional contexts requiring sophisticated analytical capabilities. Margaret's coaching about effective legal writing and persuasive argumentation revealed the substantial difference between clear communication and professionally compelling presentation that influenced decision-makers and achieved specific strategic objectives. Her feedback about structure, tone, and evidence integration provided advanced training in sophisticated communication techniques while demonstrating the elevated standards required for professional excellence that commanded premium compensation and career advancement opportunities. The experience of working directly with accomplished professionals revealed the intensive preparation and continuous learning required for maintaining competency within rapidly evolving fields that demanded current knowledge and sophisticated analytical capabilities. Margaret's daily routine included several hours of professional reading, case law research, and strategic planning that demonstrated the substantial intellectual investment required for achieving and maintaining professional excellence within competitive environments. Thomas's investigation methodology introduced systematic approaches to information gathering and analysis that required patience, persistence, and creative thinking that distinguished exceptional investigators from routine practitioners who provided standard services at commodity pricing levels. His explanation of surveillance techniques, financial analysis methods, and interview strategies revealed the sophisticated skill development required for professional competency that created substantial value for clients facing complex challenges requiring expert assistance. The professional networking opportunities that emerged through my association with Margaret and Thomas provided exposure to accomplished individuals whose career development strategies and performance standards created insights into advancement pathways that I had not previously understood or considered achievable. Their introductions to other legal professionals, business consultants, and financial analysts demonstrated the importance of relationship building and professional reputation development for creating opportunities that exceeded conventional employment limitations. The revelation that extraordinary professional achievement required not just technical competency, but also sophisticated business development capabilities, strategic relationship management, and continuous skill enhancement challenged my previous understanding of career advancement and compensation potential. The professionals I encountered had developed comprehensive expertise that extended far beyond their primary specializations into complementary areas that created unique value propositions and competitive advantages within their respective markets. Margaret's explanation of her career development strategy revealed that successful legal practice required continuous learning, strategic positioning, and reputation building that demanded substantial time investment and intellectual effort beyond basic case management and client service responsibilities. Her approach to professional development included regular attendance at industry conferences, participation in professional organizations, and maintenance of expertise in emerging legal areas that created competitive advantages and premium pricing opportunities. The financial analysis of professional service pricing models revealed the substantial income potential available to individuals who developed exceptional capabilities and established reputations for delivering superior results within competitive markets. Margaret's billing rates reflected the premium compensation available to professionals who created substantial value for clients facing complex challenges requiring sophisticated expertise and strategic thinking capabilities. The understanding that professional excellence required systematic skill development, strategic relationship building, and continuous learning investment clarified the substantial commitment required for achieving extraordinary results within any competitive field. The professionals I encountered had made deliberate choices about time allocation, learning priorities, and relationship development that enabled their advancement to levels where their expertise commanded premium compensation and created opportunities for meaningful impact. The experience of observing accomplished professionals managing complex cases and strategic challenges provided practical education in advanced problem-solving methodologies and decision-making frameworks that enhanced my analytical capabilities while demonstrating practical applications for sophisticated thinking within professional contexts. Their approaches to managing uncertainty, evaluating options, and executing complex strategies revealed systematic methodologies that could guide effective performance within various challenging circumstances. The psychological impact of exposure to truly exceptional professional performance created both inspiration and intimidation, as I recognized the substantial gap between my current capabilities and the standards required for achieving extraordinary results within competitive professional environments. The realization that excellence demanded continuous effort, strategic thinking, and willingness to invest substantial time and energy in skill development challenged my previous assumptions about career advancement and professional achievement. However, the exposure to exceptional performance also revealed that such standards were achievable through systematic effort and strategic learning, rather than requiring innate advantages or privileged circumstances that might limit accessibility. Margaret and Thomas had developed their capabilities through disciplined effort, strategic thinking, and willingness to invest substantial resources in professional development that created competitive advantages and advancement opportunities. The recognition that my current approach to professional development, while disciplined and systematic, represented only the beginning of the learning investment required for achieving truly exceptional results, created both urgency and excitement about accelerating my skill development and expanding my strategic thinking capabilities. The legal case had provided intensive practical education while revealing advancement pathways that I had not previously understood or considered achievable. The understanding that excellence required not just individual capability development but also strategic positioning within professional networks and systematic reputation building created clarity about the comprehensive approach required for achieving extraordinary career outcomes. The professionals I encountered had developed sophisticated understanding of market dynamics, competitive positioning, and value creation that enabled their advancement to levels where their expertise commanded premium compensation and created opportunities for meaningful impact. Victoria Chen had discovered that pursuing extraordinary achievement required commitment to excellence standards that exceeded conventional expectations, while demanding continuous learning, strategic thinking, and willingness to invest substantial time and energy in capability development that created competitive advantages within professional markets. The legal experience had revealed both the substantial commitment required for exceptional performance and the pathway for achieving such results through systematic effort and strategic execution. The crisis that would test everything I had learned about professional excellence and strategic thinking emerged during the third week of November, when my family's response to the formal legal demand escalated into coordinated resistance that threatened to transform a property recovery case into protracted litigation, requiring resources and emotional stamina that exceeded my current capacity. The situation deteriorated rapidly when Stephanie retained legal counsel, who advised aggressive defensive strategies designed to discredit my ownership claims, while portraying the ring theft as legitimate family assistance during a financial emergency that I had mischaracterized through vindictive legal action. The attorney representing Stephanie, David Morrison, possessed extensive experience in family law disputes and civil litigation defense strategies that created sophisticated challenges for Margaret's case preparation and strategic planning. Morrison's initial response to our demand letter raised multiple procedural and substantive objections that questioned my standing to pursue legal action, challenged the validity of my grandmother's will provisions regarding ring ownership, and suggested that my family's long-standing pattern of mutual financial assistance created implicit authorization for Stephanie's emergency use of family property during her debt crisis. Margaret's analysis of Morrison's defensive strategy revealed that opposing counsel had identified potential weaknesses in our case that could create substantial complications, if not addressed through comprehensive legal research and evidence gathering, that would require significant additional time and financial investment. The procedural challenges alone would necessitate extensive briefing and potentially multiple court appearances that could extend case resolution beyond the pawnshop redemption deadline, while generating legal costs that might exceed the ring's financial value. The complexity of Morrison's defensive approach demonstrated the substantial difference between straightforward property recovery cases and sophisticated legal disputes involving experienced opposing counsel who possessed resources and expertise comparable to our own legal team. Margaret explained that successful resolution would require strategic thinking and case preparation that exceeded our initial approach, while demanding persistence and financial commitment that could test my resolve to pursue complete legal victory, rather than compromise settlement that might preserve family relationships while providing partial remedy. The financial implications of extended litigation created pressure that threatened to overwhelm my carefully managed budget and emergency savings account that I had accumulated through months of disciplined financial planning. Margaret's estimate of potential legal costs for comprehensive case preparation and trial proceedings suggested total expenses ranging from $15,000 to $25,000, depending on case complexity and duration. These figures exceeded my available resources while raising questions about the economic rationality of pursuing legal action that might cost more than the ring's appraised value. The timeline complications created by Morrison's procedural challenges meant that ring redemption from the pawnshop would become impossible before legal resolution could be achieved through normal litigation processes. The 30-day redemption period would expire while procedural motions and discovery disputes consumed weeks or months of legal maneuvering that could result in permanent loss of my grandmother's ring, regardless of ultimate case outcome. This understanding forced consideration of alternative strategies that might preserve the ring while maintaining legal pressure for comprehensive resolution. The emotional strain of confronting systematic family resistance supported by professional legal counsel created psychological pressure that challenged my confidence and determination in ways that I had not anticipated when initially pursuing formal legal action. The transformation of what had appeared to be a straightforward property recovery situation into complex litigation involving multiple professionals and substantial financial stakes created doubt about my judgment and decision-making capabilities that had seemed clearly appropriate under different circumstances. The isolation that resulted from family estrangement combined with professional demands of case preparation created social and emotional challenges that threatened to undermine my focus and performance in both legal proceedings and workplace responsibilities. My parents had escalated their criticism of my legal action into complete communication cutoff, while spreading their version of events to extended family members and family friends, who viewed my behavior as vindictive and disproportionate to the circumstances that had created the original conflict. The workplace implications of extended legal proceedings created additional stress as I attempted to manage complex case requirements while maintaining professional performance standards at Meridian Insurance that were essential for preserving my employment and income security. The time demands of legal consultation, document preparation, and court appearances required careful coordination with work schedules while ensuring that personal legal issues did not compromise my professional responsibilities or advancement opportunities within the company. Margaret's assessment of case prospects revealed that while our legal position remained strong based on ownership documentation and evidence of theft, Morrison's defensive strategy would require comprehensive response that demanded significant additional preparation and potential expert witness testimony to address challenges to my grandmother's will interpretation and family financial assistance patterns. The enhanced case preparation would necessitate forensic accounting analysis, family financial history research, and potentially depositions from multiple family members that would escalate conflict while generating substantial additional legal costs. The strategic decision about whether to pursue comprehensive litigation or accept compromise settlement became complicated by recognition that partial resolution might establish precedent for future family exploitation, while complete legal victory could permanently damage family relationships that retained emotional significance, despite recent betrayals and manipulative behavior. Margaret's guidance about litigation strategy emphasized that successful resolution required clear objectives and realistic assessment of acceptable outcomes rather than emotional decision-making that might compromise strategic effectiveness. The investigation work required to counter Morrison's defensive strategy revealed additional aspects of family financial dynamics and relationship patterns that created both strategic advantages and emotional challenges as I confronted evidence of systematic exploitation and manipulation that extended far beyond the immediate ring theft situation. Thomas Kellerman's expanded investigation uncovered multiple instances where my financial resources and accommodating nature had been exploited by family members who had minimized or ignored my contributions while expecting continued support without reciprocal consideration or appreciation. The comprehensive financial analysis required for addressing Morrison's challenges to family assistance patterns revealed that I had provided substantial financial support to family members over several years through emergency loans, shared expenses, and direct gifts that totaled more than $12,000 without receiving repayment or acknowledgement of these contributions as legitimate financial assistance deserving recognition and appreciation. The documentation of this pattern provided strategic leverage while forcing recognition of relationship dynamics that I had previously rationalized or overlooked. The psychological impact of confronting systematic evidence of family exploitation created cognitive dissonance, as I struggled to reconcile my understanding of family relationships based on love and mutual support, with documented evidence of calculated manipulation and financial exploitation that had characterized these relationships for years. The revelation that my accommodating nature had enabled ongoing exploitation while my recent assertion of boundaries had triggered coordinated resistance created fundamental questions about family loyalty and appropriate expectations for reciprocal consideration. The pressure from multiple sources created temptation to abandon comprehensive legal action in favor of compromise solutions that might preserve some family relationships while avoiding additional legal costs and emotional stress associated with protracted litigation. Morrison's settlement overtures included partial restitution combined with family reconciliation processes that would require me to acknowledge overreaction to normal family dynamics, while accepting reduced compensation for the ring's loss, in exchange for restored family harmony and future cooperation. The strategic complexity of settlement evaluation required careful analysis of immediate versus long-term implications for both financial outcomes and relationship dynamics that would influence future interactions with family members who had demonstrated willingness to exploit my resources while resisting accountability for their actions. Margaret's guidance about settlement negotiations emphasized the importance of establishing clear boundaries and consequences that would prevent future exploitation while preserving possibility for improved relationships based on mutual respect rather than continued accommodation. The deadline pressure created by case complexity and resource limitations forced acceleration of decision-making processes while eliminating opportunity for extended deliberation about strategic alternatives and potential outcomes. The convergence of legal deadlines, financial constraints, and emotional pressure created crisis conditions that tested my ability to maintain clear thinking and strategic focus during circumstances that challenged both my analytical capabilities and emotional resilience. The experience of navigating complex legal proceedings while managing family conflict and workplace responsibilities provided intensive education in crisis management and strategic decision-making under pressure that revealed both strengths and limitations in my approach to challenging circumstances requiring simultaneous attention to multiple competing priorities and demands. The situation demonstrated that pursuing extraordinary achievement often involves periods of substantial stress and uncertainty that test commitment and capabilities in ways that cannot be anticipated or prepared for through theoretical planning alone. However, the challenges also revealed reserves of determination and analytical capability that enabled continued strategic thinking and effective performance despite overwhelming pressure from multiple sources attempting to discourage persistent pursuit of comprehensive resolution through formal legal processes. The crisis had clarified my values and priorities while demonstrating that principled action requires sustained commitment, even when circumstances become more difficult and complex than originally anticipated. Victoria Chen faced the valley of uncertainty that accompanies any ambitious undertaking when initial enthusiasm meets substantial obstacles, and the cost of pursuing extraordinary goals becomes clear through practical experience, rather than theoretical planning. The choice between compromise and persistence would determine whether she possessed the character and commitment necessary for achieving complete success, despite temporary setbacks and systematic opposition from people whose interests conflicted with her pursuit of justice and accountability. The solution that would transform my seemingly impossible legal situation into complete victory emerged through an unexpected convergence of professional expertise and strategic thinking that occurred during my most desperate period of case evaluation and resource analysis. While reviewing the comprehensive evidence file that Thomas Kellerman had assembled regarding Stephanie's financial history and family exploitation patterns, I discovered a critical detail that had profound implications for both my immediate legal situation and my long-term professional advancement opportunities within the insurance industry. Thomas's investigation had uncovered documentation proving that Stephanie had committed insurance fraud 3 years earlier by filing false claims regarding alleged theft of personal property from her apartment. The fraud had involved submitting fabricated police reports and inflated valuations for items that had never been stolen, resulting in insurance payouts totaling nearly $8,000 from 2 different carriers, who had not coordinated their investigations sufficiently to identify the fraudulent claims pattern. This discovery provided crucial leverage for my case, while revealing criminal behavior that created additional legal exposure for Stephanie, beyond the immediate ring theft situation. Margaret Thornfield's analysis of the insurance fraud evidence revealed that this information fundamentally altered our strategic position by establishing patterns of criminal behavior that supported theft and fraud charges related to my grandmother's ring, while creating potential federal jurisdiction through interstate commerce implications of the fraudulent insurance claims. The documented fraud history demonstrated that Stephanie's theft of my ring represented continuation of systematic criminal behavior rather than isolated crisis response that might deserve sympathetic consideration from legal authorities. The insurance fraud documentation also provided powerful leverage for settlement negotiations by creating criminal exposure that could result in federal prosecution and substantial penalties that would far exceed any potential consequences from my civil property recovery action. Morrison's defensive strategy had been predicated on portraying Stephanie as someone facing temporary financial difficulties who had made poor judgment under pressure, but the fraud evidence revealed deliberate criminal intent and systematic deception that eliminated sympathy-based defenses, while creating urgent motivation for cooperative resolution. However, the most significant aspect of this discovery involved recognition that my insurance industry expertise and analytical capabilities had enabled identification of fraud patterns that had escaped detection by professional investigators and insurance company fraud prevention specialists. The pattern recognition skills I had developed through years of claims analysis and customer service experience allowed me to identify relationships between seemingly unrelated events that revealed sophisticated fraud schemes requiring advanced understanding of insurance industry operations and regulatory frameworks. Margaret's assessment of my analytical contribution to case development revealed that my insights had transformed a complex property recovery dispute into a comprehensive fraud case with substantial criminal implications that created overwhelming pressure for favorable resolution, while demonstrating professional capabilities that exceeded her initial expectations. Her recognition of my contribution included specific commentary about potential career opportunities within forensic investigation and insurance litigation that could provide advancement pathways beyond traditional insurance company employment limitations. Thomas Kellerman's evaluation of my investigative contributions provided additional validation of capabilities that had enabled case breakthrough while suggesting consulting opportunities within forensic accounting and financial investigation that could utilize my unique combination of insurance industry knowledge and analytical problem-solving skills. His assessment emphasized that successful fraud detection required pattern recognition capabilities and systematic thinking that distinguished exceptional investigators from routine practitioners who relied primarily on standard procedures and conventional analysis methodologies. The strategic breakthrough created by fraud evidence discovery enabled Margaret to present Morrison with overwhelming legal pressure that forced immediate settlement negotiations rather than protracted litigation that had seemed inevitable when opposing counsel believed they possessed viable defensive strategies. The combination of documented criminal behavior and potential federal prosecution created urgency for resolution that eliminated Morrison's ability to pursue delaying tactics while generating substantial settlement leverage that exceeded the ring's appraised value. The settlement negotiations that followed demonstrated advanced legal strategy and negotiation techniques as Margaret leveraged the fraud evidence to achieve comprehensive resolution that included full restitution for the ring's loss, payment of legal costs and investigation expenses, and additional compensation for emotional distress and family relationship damage caused by Stephanie's criminal behavior and subsequent defensive resistance to acknowledging wrongdoing and providing appropriate restitution. The financial terms of the settlement agreement exceeded $25,000 in total compensation, while establishing clear consequences for any future attempts to exploit my resources or interfere with my professional and personal development. The agreement included specific provisions requiring acknowledgement of wrongdoing and formal apology, while prohibiting any future contact or communication that might constitute harassment or retaliation related to my pursuit of legal remedies for documented criminal behavior. The resolution process also included coordination with insurance company fraud investigators, who initiated recovery proceedings to address the previous fraudulent claims that Stephanie had filed with multiple carriers. This coordination created additional pressure for compliance with settlement terms, while establishing ongoing oversight that would prevent future fraud attempts through systematic monitoring and investigation protocols that extended beyond my immediate case resolution. The professional recognition I received from Margaret and Thomas regarding my contribution to Case Breakthrough created immediate consulting opportunities that demonstrated practical applications for the analytical capabilities and insurance industry expertise I had developed through years of disciplined study and strategic skill development. Margaret's law firm offered contract positions for insurance litigation support, while Thomas's investigation company proposed ongoing collaboration for fraud detection and financial analysis projects requiring specialized insurance industry knowledge. The consulting opportunities provided immediate income supplementation that exceeded my Meridian insurance salary, while offering professional development experiences that would enhance my qualifications for advanced positions within legal, investigative, and financial analysis fields, requiring sophisticated analytical capabilities and industry-specific expertise. The work involved challenging assignments that utilized my unique skill combination, while providing exposure to accomplished professionals whose career development strategies could guide my advancement toward extraordinary achievement levels. The psychological impact of achieving complete legal victory through professional excellence and strategic thinking validated my belief that extraordinary results were achievable through systematic effort and disciplined skill development, regardless of external opposition or family skepticism about my capabilities and potential for meaningful achievement. The experience demonstrated that pursuing principled action and maintaining high standards could generate outcomes that exceeded conventional expectations, while creating opportunities for continued advancement and professional recognition. The transformation of family crisis into professional breakthrough revealed the importance of maintaining strategic perspective during challenging circumstances, while recognizing that obstacles often contain opportunities for demonstrating capabilities and creating advancement pathways that would not have emerged through conventional career development approaches. The legal situation had forced accelerated learning and performance that revealed capabilities I had not previously recognized while providing practical experience in sophisticated professional environments. The resolution of the ring theft situation provided closure for family conflict while establishing clear boundaries and expectations for future relationships based on mutual respect and accountability rather than continued accommodation of exploitative behavior disguised as normal family dynamics. The settlement agreement created financial security, while providing documented evidence that pursuing principled action and professional excellence could generate concrete results that validated investment in capability development and strategic thinking. The consulting income generated through case-related work enabled acceleration of my professional development plans while providing financial independence that eliminated pressure to accommodate family exploitation or workplace limitations that might constrain advancement opportunities. The additional resources created flexibility for pursuing advanced education and certification programs that would enhance my qualifications for positions requiring sophisticated analytical capabilities and industry expertise. The professional networks I accessed through Margaret and Thomas's introductions provided ongoing mentorship opportunities and career development guidance from accomplished practitioners who recognized my potential while offering practical support for advancement strategies that could generate extraordinary achievement within competitive professional environments. These relationships created sustainable foundation for continued growth rather than isolated success that might not translate into lasting advancement. The documentation of my analytical contributions to fraud detection and case resolution provided portfolio evidence of capabilities that could support applications for advanced positions within insurance, legal, and investigation fields requiring demonstrated expertise and proven performance under challenging circumstances. The casework had generated tangible proof of value creation that exceeded routine performance, while establishing reputation within professional networks that valued analytical excellence and strategic thinking. The experience of navigating complex legal proceedings while contributing meaningful analytical insights revealed that extraordinary achievement often results from applying developed capabilities to challenging circumstances that provide opportunities for demonstrating value and creating recognition within professional communities. The crisis had become a catalyst for breakthrough that validated years of preparation while opening pathways for continued advancement and meaningful contribution. Victoria Chen had transformed family betrayal and legal crisis into professional breakthrough that demonstrated the power of systematic skill development combined with principled action and strategic thinking. The settlement victory provided both immediate vindication and foundation for extraordinary career advancement that would exceed conventional limitations while creating opportunities for meaningful impact within professional environments that valued analytical excellence and innovative problem-solving capabilities. The professional opportunities that emerged from my successful case resolution created a foundation for accelerated career advancement that exceeded my most optimistic projections for skill development and income generation within the insurance and legal investigation sectors. Margaret Thornfield's law firm formalized my consulting arrangement through a comprehensive contract that provided steady project work requiring fraud analysis and insurance industry expertise, while offering exposure to sophisticated legal proceedings that enhanced my understanding of litigation strategy and evidence development methodologies. The initial consulting assignments involved analyzing insurance claims patterns and regulatory compliance issues for clients facing complex coverage disputes and potential fraud allegations. The work required comprehensive understanding of insurance industry operations, combined with analytical capabilities that could identify subtle patterns indicating fraudulent activity or regulatory violations that might escape detection through routine investigation procedures. My unique combination of customer service experience and systematic analytical training enabled exceptional performance that generated substantial value for clients, while establishing reputation for reliable expertise within specialized professional networks. Margaret's introduction to senior partners within her firm revealed opportunities for advancement into permanent positions, requiring insurance industry specialization and fraud investigation capabilities that commanded premium compensation levels substantially exceeding traditional insurance company employment limitations. The conversations with firm leadership demonstrated recognition of my analytical contributions, while indicating potential career pathways that could provide both financial advancement and meaningful professional impact within sophisticated legal environments requiring specialized expertise. Thomas Kellerman's investigation company offered expanded collaboration opportunities that included oversight of complex financial fraud cases, requiring systematic analysis of banking records, transaction patterns, and documentation authenticity verification that demanded advanced analytical capabilities and attention to detail that distinguished exceptional investigators from routine practitioners. The assignments provided intensive practical education in forensic investigation techniques while generating consulting income that enabled acceleration of my professional development plans and financial independence goals. The professional recognition generated through successful case contributions attracted attention from other legal firms and investigation companies, seeking candidates with proven capabilities in insurance fraud detection and analytical case development. The referral network that developed through Margaret and Thomas's professional connections created multiple consulting opportunities that provided diverse experience while establishing competitive market position for my specialized skill combination within growing sectors requiring sophisticated analytical expertise. The financial impact of consulting income combined with the settlement proceeds from my legal case created unprecedented financial flexibility that eliminated pressure to remain within constrained employment situations, while providing resources for advanced education and certification programs that would enhance my qualifications for senior positions requiring documented expertise and professional credentials. The improved financial position enabled strategic investment in capability development that would generate long-term advancement opportunities within competitive professional environments. The consulting work exposed me to sophisticated business operations and strategic decision-making processes within successful professional service firms that demonstrated advanced management techniques and client relationship strategies that created sustainable competitive advantages within specialized markets. The exposure to high-level business operations provided practical education in entrepreneurial thinking and strategic planning that enhanced my understanding of value creation and market positioning within professional services industries. The analytical challenges presented through consulting assignments required continuous learning and skill development that accelerated my expertise advancement while providing practical applications for theoretical knowledge I had developed through independent study and formal education programs. The work demanded integration of insurance industry knowledge with legal principles, investigative techniques, and financial analysis methodologies that created comprehensive expertise exceeding narrow specialization limitations while establishing unique value propositions within multiple professional markets. The professional relationships developed through consulting work created mentorship opportunities with accomplished practitioners whose career development strategies and performance standards provided guidance for achieving extraordinary results within competitive environments, requiring sustained excellence and continuous improvement. The relationships extended beyond immediate project work into strategic career counseling and professional network expansion that supported long-term advancement planning and opportunity identification. The documentation of successful case contributions and consulting project outcomes created portfolio evidence of capabilities that supported applications for advanced positions within insurance companies, law firms, and investigation agencies, seeking candidates with proven expertise and demonstrated value creation abilities. The tangible proof of analytical contributions and successful project completion provided competitive advantages for advancement opportunities, requiring specialized qualifications and performance verification. The reputation establishment within professional networks generated unsolicited opportunities for additional consulting work and potential employment offers that reflected market recognition of my analytical capabilities and insurance industry expertise. The organic opportunity generation demonstrated that exceptional performance and specialized competence created sustainable competitive advantages while reducing dependence on traditional job search processes and conventional advancement pathways within established corporate hierarchies. The exposure to sophisticated legal proceedings and investigation methodologies revealed opportunities for additional professional development through specialized certification programs and advanced education that would enhance my qualifications for senior positions requiring documented expertise and regulatory compliance knowledge. The identification of specific advancement requirements enabled strategic educational investment that would maximize return on learning effort while creating credentials that supported premium compensation and responsibility levels. The consulting experience provided practical understanding of entrepreneurial business operations and client relationship management that suggested potential for independent practice development, as my expertise and reputation continued growing within specialized professional markets. The observation of successful practice management strategies and business development techniques created foundation knowledge for potential future entrepreneurship that could provide unlimited advancement potential and professional autonomy. The professional validation received through successful consulting contributions created confidence for pursuing more challenging assignments and advanced positions that required sophisticated analytical capabilities and proven expertise within specialized markets. The recognition from accomplished professionals eliminated self-doubt, while reinforcing commitment to pursuing extraordinary achievement through systematic skill development and strategic career planning. The financial analysis of consulting income potential compared to traditional employment compensation revealed substantial opportunities for income acceleration through professional service delivery that commanded premium pricing based on specialized expertise and proven value creation capabilities. The market analysis demonstrated that exceptional analytical abilities combined with industry-specific knowledge created competitive advantages that supported sustainable professional advancement and financial independence achievement. The strategic positioning within multiple professional networks created diversified opportunity sources that reduced career risk while providing flexibility for advancement pathway selection based on interest alignment and compensation optimization rather than limited options within single industry sectors. The network diversity enabled strategic career planning that maximized potential outcomes while maintaining adaptability for evolving market conditions and opportunity emergence. The consulting work required continuous interaction with senior professionals and business leaders, whose strategic thinking and decision-making approaches provided practical education in advanced management concepts and leadership techniques that enhanced my understanding of organizational dynamics and performance optimization within competitive professional environments. The exposure to sophisticated business strategy enhanced my capabilities for future leadership roles, requiring comprehensive understanding of organizational effectiveness and strategic planning. The project management requirements for consulting assignments developed practical experience in coordinating complex activities involving multiple stakeholders while maintaining quality standards and meeting critical deadlines under pressure that characterized high-stakes professional environments. The experience provided valuable training in leadership and coordination capabilities that would support advancement to positions requiring management responsibility and team oversight within sophisticated professional organizations. The analytical methodology development required for successful consulting delivery created systematic approaches to problem-solving and evidence evaluation that enhanced my capabilities for addressing complex challenges requiring innovative thinking and comprehensive analysis within various professional contexts. The methodology refinement provided competitive advantages for future assignments, while establishing reputation for reliable expertise and strategic insight within specialized professional markets. The professional growth achieved through consulting work demonstrated that extraordinary advancement was achievable through systematic effort and strategic opportunity pursuit, rather than depending on conventional career progression within established corporate structures that might limit advancement potential and income generation possibilities. The experience validated my belief that exceptional performance and specialized expertise could create unlimited advancement opportunities within professional markets that valued analytical excellence and innovative problem-solving capabilities. Victoria Chen had transformed legal crisis and family betrayal into sustainable professional momentum that created foundation for extraordinary career advancement through specialized expertise development and strategic professional relationship building. The consulting success demonstrated that systematic skill development, combined with principled action, could generate outcomes that exceeded conventional limitations while creating opportunities for meaningful professional impact and financial independence achievement through value creation and market recognition of exceptional analytical capabilities. The crisis that would test every professional capability I had developed emerged 6 months after establishing my consulting practice, when a major insurance fraud investigation involving Margaret Thornfield's most important client revealed patterns of criminal activity that implicated senior executives within Meridian Insurance Company, my former employer and current benefits provider. The discovery created immediate conflicts of interest that threatened to destroy my consulting relationships while potentially exposing me to legal liability and professional ethics violations that could eliminate my advancement opportunities within the insurance and legal investigation sectors. The investigation centered on Pacific Northwest Financial Group, a regional insurance holding company that controlled several smaller carriers including Meridian Insurance, and involved systematic premium fraud through falsified risk assessments and regulatory reporting violations that had generated over $12 million in improper revenue across multiple state jurisdictions. Margaret's legal team had retained my services to analyze claims patterns and identify fraudulent activities within the subsidiary companies, but my analytical work revealed that senior management at Meridian had participated in the fraudulent schemes through deliberate misrepresentation of actuarial data and customer risk profiles. The evidence I discovered included email communications between Meridian executives and Pacific Northwest leadership discussing strategies for manipulating claims processing procedures to reduce payout obligations while maintaining regulatory compliance appearances. My analysis revealed that these practices had affected thousands of legitimate claims, including some that I had personally processed during my employment at Meridian, creating the devastating realization that I had unknowingly participated in fraudulent activities that had harmed customers who trusted the company to provide appropriate coverage and fair claims resolution. The professional ethical implications of this discovery created unprecedented challenges for my consulting practice and career advancement prospects within the insurance industry. My employment history at Meridian could be interpreted as evidence of complicity in fraudulent activities, while my current investigation work for opposing counsel created potential conflicts of interest that might disqualify me from continued involvement in the case, while raising questions about my professional judgment and ethical standards that could damage my reputation within legal and investigation communities. Margaret Thornfield's assessment of the situation revealed the complexity of navigating ethical obligations and professional responsibilities when discovery work uncovers evidence that implicates former employers and current business relationships in criminal activities. Her guidance emphasized that successful resolution would require careful coordination with regulatory authorities and law enforcement agencies while maintaining confidentiality requirements and avoiding actions that might compromise investigation integrity or expose clients to additional legal liability through premature disclosure of sensitive information. The legal framework governing my obligations as both former Meridian employee and current investigation consultant created overlapping responsibilities that required sophisticated understanding of employment law, attorney-client privilege, and regulatory reporting requirements that demanded immediate consultation with specialized legal counsel to ensure compliance with all applicable standards while protecting my professional interests and advancement opportunities. The complexity exceeded anything I had encountered through previous consulting work, while requiring strategic thinking that integrated legal, ethical, and practical considerations. The potential financial impact of the Meridian fraud investigation threatened to eliminate my consulting income, while creating substantial legal expenses for ethics consultation and potential liability defense that could deplete the financial resources I had accumulated through successful casework and strategic career planning. The crisis demonstrated how quickly professional advancement could be threatened by external circumstances beyond direct control, while requiring sophisticated crisis management and strategic decision-making under extreme pressure with limited information and uncertain outcomes. The investigation timeline created urgent pressure for resolution, while preventing extended deliberation about strategic alternatives and potential consequences of different response approaches. The regulatory authorities expected immediate cooperation and comprehensive disclosure of relevant information, while Margaret's client required continued analytical support that might be compromised by conflicts of interest and ethical limitations that restricted my ability to provide complete investigation services without potential professional liability. Thomas Kellerman's assessment of the investigation implications revealed additional complications involving potential witness testimony and expert witness responsibilities that could require me to provide evidence against former colleagues and supervisors at Meridian Insurance, while maintaining professional relationships and reputation within the insurance industry that remained essential for future consulting opportunities and career advancement prospects. The situation created unprecedented personal and professional challenges that tested my commitment to ethical standards while threatening immediate financial security and long-term advancement potential. The psychological pressure created by discovering systematic fraud within my former workplace challenged my understanding of corporate culture and professional relationships, while forcing recognition that many colleagues and supervisors I had respected and trusted had participated in criminal activities that violated fundamental ethical principles and harmed customers who depended on insurance coverage for financial security and peace of mind. The revelation created cognitive dissonance that required substantial emotional processing while maintaining professional performance under extreme stress. The strategic complexity of managing multiple competing obligations and interests required advanced analytical thinking and systematic evaluation of potential outcomes that utilized every problem-solving capability I had developed through legal casework and consulting experience. The situation demanded integration of legal knowledge, ethical analysis, and practical business considerations, while coordinating with multiple professional advisors, whose guidance sometimes conflicted due to different priorities and risk assessments. that reflected their specialized expertise areas. The professional network relationships I had developed through consulting work provided crucial support and guidance during this crisis period, but also created additional complications, as various contacts had different perspectives about appropriate response strategies and ethical obligations that reflected their own professional interests and risk tolerance levels. The divergent advice required careful evaluation while maintaining confidentiality requirements that limited my ability to seek comprehensive consultation about strategic alternatives and potential consequences. The regulatory investigation process revealed the sophisticated coordination required among federal and state agencies investigating insurance fraud, while managing complex evidence preservation and witness protection requirements that affected my ability to continue normal consulting activities and professional development initiatives. The involvement of multiple jurisdictions created procedural complications that required specialized legal expertise, while generating substantial time demands that interfered with income-generating consulting work and strategic career planning activities. The media attention surrounding the Pacific Northwest Financial Group investigation created additional pressure as journalists sought information about the fraud schemes, while potentially exposing my involvement in the investigation process in ways that could affect my professional reputation and future consulting opportunities within industries that valued discretion and confidentiality in sensitive business matters. The publicity considerations required strategic communication planning while maintaining legal and ethical obligations that restricted disclosure of investigation details. The discovery that fraud patterns I had identified extended beyond Pacific Northwest Financial Group into other regional insurance companies created potential for expanded investigation work that could provide substantial consulting opportunities, but also increased complexity and risk exposure that might overwhelm my capabilities and resources while creating conflicts with existing client relationships and professional obligations that required careful evaluation and strategic planning to manage effectively. The ethical consultation required for navigating this complex situation provided intensive education in professional responsibility standards and regulatory compliance requirements that enhanced my understanding of legal and business operations while demonstrating the sophisticated judgment and strategic thinking required for senior-level positions within organizations facing complex regulatory and legal challenges. The experience provided valuable professional development while creating immediate crisis that threatened existing advancement opportunities. The crisis management requirements forced accelerated learning about corporate compliance, regulatory investigation procedures, and crisis communication strategies that enhanced my professional capabilities, while testing my ability to maintain high performance under extreme pressure with uncertain outcomes and limited control over external factors affecting investigation progress and strategic alternatives. The experience demonstrated both strengths and limitations in my approach to complex professional challenges requiring coordination among multiple stakeholders with competing interests. The resolution approach that emerged through comprehensive analysis and strategic consultation required balancing ethical obligations with professional advancement interests, while maintaining relationships and reputation within professional communities that would remain essential for future consulting opportunities and career development, regardless of immediate investigation outcomes. The strategy demanded sophisticated understanding of legal requirements, professional standards, and practical business considerations that required integration of every capability I had developed through legal casework and consulting experience. Victoria Chen faced the ultimate test of professional judgment and ethical commitment while navigating complex obligations that could determine whether her career advancement would continue through successful crisis management or be permanently damaged by association with corporate fraud and ethical violations that threatened to eliminate consulting opportunities and professional reputation within industries that demanded highest standards of integrity and analytical excellence. Up next, you've got two more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.